Have you ever made a promise to God in a moment of crisis only to backtrack once the pressure was gone? That's exactly what happened to King Zedekiah and to the people of Judah, and it's a lesson that we cannot afford to miss. In Jeremiah 34, we find Zedekiah, the leaders of Judah, at a breaking point. The Babylonians were at their gates, and desperation was setting in. So they made a big decision. They proclaimed liberty. They decided that they would release their Hebrew slaves. They were to do what they should have been doing all along, fulfilling the command from the Torah to set their fellow Israelites free every 7 years. It was the right decision. It was a good decision. And for a moment, it looked like a turning point, like they were really turning back to God. But here's the thing. Their obedience was driven by fear, not by a renewed commitment to faithfulness. The moment the Babylonian siege lifted, they backtracked. They re-enslaved their brothers and sisters. God doesn't call us to obedience that's based on convenience. His promises demand faithfulness. Jeremiah 34 is a powerful reminder that true obedience isn't about cutting a deal with God to get what we want. It's about trusting Him, walking in His ways, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs us something. When the Lord set His people free from slavery in Egypt, it wasn't so they could turn around and then begin enslaving one another. His command was clear. He says, at the end of 7 years, you must let your fellow Hebrews go free. Don't just set them free. Equip them with what they need to start fresh. God wanted those whom He had set free to begin to reflect His heart, His justice, His mercy and compassion. But instead, they turned to the very patterns that had crushed them the moment it worked in their favor. They themselves had experienced the crushing weight of slavery firsthand, knowing the pain of it, the humiliation that it brings. But instead of letting that memory cultivate empathy and understanding, they chose personal convenience over compassion. Rather than standing as a people who set others free, they became the very oppressors that they once cried out to be delivered from, all because it worked for them in the moment. How often do we do the same? We promise God our faithfulness when life is hard. Lord, if you get me through this, I'll follow you wholeheartedly. But when the pressure lifts, we drift back to what's comfortable for us, to what works for us, forgetting the commitments we made. Like Zedekiah, the people that he led were tempted to choose convenience over covenant. Here's the good news. God's grace is greater than our failures. Even when we fall short, He gives us opportunities to return to Him. But those opportunities come with a challenge. Will we follow through even when it's hard? Will we live out the freedom He's given us, not just for our sake, but for others? Where are you choosing convenience over obedience? What promises have you made to God that need your follow-through? Freedom isn't just about being set free. It's about living in a way that reflects God's justice and mercy and love. Let's walk in that freedom today and be a reflection of His heart to the world.